Darren Grimes on Grime Time. Hello.
Hi, Jeremy. It's great to be with you. And congratulations, by the way, on the first show. It's going great.
Has it? I'm delighted.
It is. I promise.
Well, I'm doing my best, Darren. It's been a while. I'm being serious. When I started and I said it's weird. If you've done something for 15 years and before that radio, and then all of a sudden, you're like, how do I do this? So
Yes.
I emptied the bins this morning. I took Oliver out for a walk. I tried to shave without cutting myself, and I came in. And the minute I could be honest, I was absolutely fine. Loving it now. Darren Grimes, County Durham. What's the man in County Durham? How old are you?
I'm 28.
What's the man in County Durham at 28 thinking like you do, kidder?
Well, God, that's a very good question. Most of us think like this up here, though. I think that's what people forget.
You know what? I mean, it's my second home, Newcastle.
Yeah, well, there we are. There we are.
Boris's tax hike. Is it the answer, or is it indeed poll tax 2.0 that will see him disappear down the political plug hole, just like Margaret Thatcher did?
Well, I mean, apparently, according to the Telegraph, as far as they've had a look at focus groups over the past few days since the response has gotten out there and the public have been made aware of these national insurance contribution rises. And voters in places not unlike this in County Durham have turned around apparently in these focus groups and said, well, hang on a minute, this all doesn't seem very fair. And going as far as you say, to call it a poll tax 2.0. Look, Jeremy, I think that's probably right, because this is the biggest tax rate, let's not forget, in 50 years. You've got people in this country who, if they're lucky enough to have seen a pay increase post-pandemic, will see that pay increase effectively cancelled.
Let's throw it back at you, Darren. I'm absolutely with you. And politics is full of people who make one mistake and it's good night Vienna, right?
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say to all those people who are having a go at the national income tax, that 1.25 national insurance rise. How do we, I'm throwing it out there, peeps. How do we pay for this? It is all well and good for everybody to say, we've had the pandemic and business is struggling and we're not getting this and we're not getting that. Unfortunately, this terrible thing happened. How do we financially put ourselves back where we need to be? You can't keep printing money. If you print money, inflation will end up at 30% and nobody will have anything in their pay packets and will be held to ransom by every union, left, right and centre of this. I don't know. Look, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's right. For me, I'm there on my colours. I wouldn't be building HS2O. That's 500 billion
No, would I.
5 billion quid or whatever it is. I would be using that. I would be using that to make good the problems that have been created to a point. And also this money, somebody said earlier, how are civil servants and the government going to take this £12 billion and use it? Are we going to have more typewriters? There's essential typewriters that save people's lives. Or are we going to have more nurses and doctors and more policemen on the street? Are we going to do what we need to do? I don't know. I think they need to explain. One of the things I did about Brexit in my mind was people don't know. I don't think people in this country, Darren, mind paying for stuff if they know it's worthwhile. I don't think they mind giving out if they know it's the right thing to do, but they don't like being taken from if they don't know what it's for.
Well, I agree with that. And I think you're exactly right to sort of raise the concerns about inflation and other, like rise in energy costs, for example. A massive part of someone's budget, the least well off in society, pushed through by politicians with £80,000 pay packets, by the way. This winter is going to be pretty tough for many people. But on the point that you raised there about what are we going to do in order to pay for things, vital things like social care, for example. Well, Jeremy, I don't mean to be rude for a second, but I know you were around. You were young, I assume, in the socialist 70s, right? But I think if we consider that, I wasn't around for another 20 years yet.
All right.
You've got sky high inflation, sky high taxes, and guess what? The economy was a basket case. It was seen as the sick man of Europe. Now, the reason why this is going, all these national insurance contribution tax rises are going down like a bag of sick, is because think about the backdrop that you've got going on. The NHS are reporting that they're hiring 42 executives on upwards of £270,000 a year, as well as hiring a fleet of diversity chiefs as well. And you look at the backdrop of the economy and everything that we're going through. Why are the NHS hiring people on more money than we pay the Prime Minister?
Do you know
right?
what?
That's what people are asking.
I was gonna say something that will result in in somebody saying the wrong thing. I am a man. You are absolutely. I cannot disagree with anything you've said. I completely get it. I really, really do. And I understand from where you're coming from, how you see what you see. I'm going to throw something else out there. Report today says that there are a decreasing number of white males getting university places. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, it's not very popular, Jeremy, if you speak about white males these days. It's seen as being a bit tabooed, perhaps, but there are many white working class kids on free school meals, for example, again, in areas like this, but not just County Durham. There are parts of this country up and down it that have really quite bad, I guess, equality and attainment gaps in education, especially. And what you hear time and time again from the activist class is that actually there is white privilege. You must have heard that over the past year. There is white privilege in this country, and actually white working class kids don't really come into the equation. We hear more about quotas that help other groups, for example. But an education select committee report actually found that free school kids on free school meals underperformed when compared with their peers, and that students are winning university places in every single demographic across the UK except white men. Now, for that, you've got to ask yourself, I don't envy kids today. I really, really don't. You're told by Greta Thunberg and her acolytes that the world's going to end in a ball of flames. You're told that the coronavirus has ruined your life opportunities. You're told that you're privileged by being white. And I wonder if kids in areas like this, Jeremy, are looking around and thinking, what privilege have I got? Like, what privilege is there evident in my life?
I think you're right. I think it's because we live in such a politically correct world now,
Oh,
and let me just nail it, a lot of that is important. But to me, from nailing my colours, I would say it's gone to the other extreme. If you're talking about diversity, if you're talking about giving equal opportunity, that has to be in any field, irrespective of colour, creed, religion, or whatever. And quite rightly, no form, it is important to say, of course it's important to say, everybody should be given an opportunity. But in trying to do that, if you then end up negating the opportunities of others, that is fundamentally wrong. I'm going to leave, and I'm being honest, I'm going to leave this studio at 7 o'clock. I'm going to go to the boss of Talk Radio, and I'm going to absolutely insist you're on all the time. I think you're fantastic, not just because you're from my favourite place in the United Kingdom. Darren Grimes, you're welcome any time, kid.
Cheers, mate.
Take care.